Hi everyone, welcome to Monastic Apps, the first video of this YouTube channel. This is a place for me to share some of the things that I make, primarily centered around technology that works with our attention span and our intentions rather than against them. I'm a software engineer and data scientist of 15 years, and this is just a place for me to share some of the things I find useful. So specifically, this video is going to be about something I'm calling Speaker Isolator. Let me directly tell you the problem that I was encountering and the solution that I made. So the problem is something like YouTube videos where a number of people, like 2 or more people, are talking, but I'm only interested in one person. So I'm only interested in one of the speakers. Now, I would not be caught dead listening to actors, but just to make the point here, just to make a sort of a difficult example to show that the script works for this example, I've picked this. So this is the actors roundtable with, you can see like 7 people around the table talking. And let's say I'm only interested in Sandler, I think, this guy. Let's say I'm only interested in Adam Sandler's opinions or speeches throughout this whole interview. So I created a constellation of scripts orchestrated by one master script that takes the YouTube link, and it also takes like a particular timestamp where the person that you're interested in is talking without getting interrupted by other people. So it should be like a clear point in time where only your guy is talking. So it takes those 2 inputs, and what the script comes out with is only the parts where the speaker that you're interested in is talking, and in between them, so interleaved by AI-generated summaries of the conversation that happened in between. So that like it's not just a series of clips by the speaker you're interested in that are that have no context. Instead, like we get a very short AI summary of the context. So this whole interview is 58 minutes long, and I've run this script once. So I'm gonna show you how to run the script, but I've already run it because it takes a few minutes. So in this case, it took the whole thing took 8 minutes to complete, all running locally. And the output that it created looks like this. So this is step 6, so it's a 6-step process. I've been saving the interim steps. Let me show you. Okay. Let me see if I can. I'm going to mute this mic, and then we're going to listen very shortly because YouTube YouTube is very sensitive on copyright. So I'll just maybe like 10 seconds or so, we're going to listen to the final output, and then I'm going to talk more about the process and, if you're interested, how you can access the script.
The value of creative freedom in comedy.
Which one's easier?
If you have something that either way, something you're confident with.
Okay. I'm not going to play more, but you can tell here that the whole conversation between the 7 people in this actors roundtable was 58 minutes long, and the final output of the scripts are a 7-minute, 14-second sort of one wave file, one audio file that's 7 minutes long, where it's exactly like this: a short AI summary of the conversation up to that point, and then the actor that I was interested in who's speaking, in this case Adam Sandler, and it follows in this pattern. So another AI summary, and then another segment of conversation by Adam Sandler, etc. So let me tell you a little bit about what is happening. So I'm going to check these things into a Git repo right now I haven't done that yet. I've done it locally, but I haven't published it yet. But eventually it'll be published on github.com/monasticapps. And I'll do it like right as I publish this video. So I'll put the link to the repository in the description below. Specifically, what you're going to find in that repository is our 7 scripts, 1 orchestrator script, and then like these 7 steps that handle each part of the process individually, all handled by the orchestrator. Let me first give you a sense of how this app works. So let's do this. Okay, I've copied the link, and I've also, I had already identified that Adam Sandler was speaking around, yeah, exactly around this mark. So around 43, 45. So when you run the orchestrator, it's going to ask if you want to give a special name to the folder. And if not, it's just going to put the timestamp, current timestamp. So current date and timestamp. I'm just going to use the current date and timestamp. I'm going to input a YouTube URL. Now, it's going to ask the timestamp where the speaker that I'm interested in is talking. So I'm going to say 43:42. And then this says minimum segment duration. So through some experimentation, I found 10 seconds to be appropriate, but you may change it. So specifically what this is referring to is there's sometimes contentious debates where the parties are interrupting each other all the time. Now, I am not interested in like grown people interrupting each other every 2 seconds and not being able to make any points. So I said, I want the person that I'm interested in to be talking for at least a continuous 10 seconds, you know, the parts, if they're not able to get a word in edgewise, then I'm just not interested in their like 2 words before they get interrupted. So I said they should be talking for at least 10 seconds before you consider that a valid segment. If they talk less than 10 seconds, just skip that part. So for me, it's 10 seconds. And then now I'm going to interrupt because I've already run this, but it's basically going to go through these 6 steps. So we're going to trace what happened at the top here. Yeah. So over here, I've done the exact same things before. So I've entered the YouTube link. I've entered the timestamp. I've left the default as is. And first, the first thing it does is to download the YouTube audio. And when that happens, the way it downloaded is the step 1. So that is the exact 58 minutes recording of that YouTube video that it downloaded. Then let's go down. So step number 2, converting to 16 kilohertz mono wave file. It did this, so it's going to be the same length, but it had to do this because like the first step, the way it downloaded the audio, the sampling was sometimes not enough for the future steps. So this was just like an interim thing that I had to do. The third step is super, super, extremely cool. Like I did not know there were free ways to do this. It's fantastic. So notice I never specified how many people were talking in the YouTube video, right? So the algorithm by itself has figured out something called speaker diarization. And the output of that is something like this. So it takes the whole file. This is a giant text file. That's the output of this step, where it figures out between these, sections, this speaker is talking. Between these sections, again, that same speaker is talking. Then it's speaker 5, then it's speaker 1. Like it identifies how many distinct speakers there are and which precise segments they're talking through an algorithm like this. And if you listen to the first part where we first looked at the output, you can see the even meaningless words of Adam Sandler, like and stuff, were registered correctly. So this algorithm is extremely impressive. The other thing that I had tried on another video was there were 2 people, so one host and one interviewee. But the host inserted clips of the interview from other interviews, from like different interviews, basically asking like, what did you mean when you said this over here? So, and the algorithm, the diarization algorithm, is able to correctly identify the same person in 2 different clips with like 2 different mic settings and stuff. It was able to correctly identify that person. So it's super impressive. It's like very, very good. But anyway, so this is step number 3. It identifies who is speaking when. Then the step number 4, it's identifying the target speaker. So remember, I had input 43, 42 as the person that I was interested in. Now, in the 4th step, it's matching, at the time that the user specified, I wanted this man's, this man's segments to be stitched. That corresponds to speaker number 6. So that's step number 4. Step number 5 is a local transcription kind of script. So this transcription, what it does is it basically matches each of these segments and the person they were talking with what they were saying at that time. And this is going to be very helpful when for the final step, when we identify, for example, it's speaker 6 that I'm interested in, right? And you can tell, for example, that the speaker 6 said literally only one word here, but this was not registered in our algorithm because it doesn't meet the minimum 10 seconds. But if we look, let's just pretend that I was interested in speaker 5, right? So the algorithm would summarize everything that happened before. The AI would summarize and then do a TTS, text to speech, and put that before the segment. So in order for that whole thing to be able to be done, I needed firstly the step number 5 to be fulfilled, which is the transcript by the speakers. And then step number 6 is the It does a lot of things. So the speaker isolation. So the first thing that it does is it creates a series of AI summaries. So for example,
interview with multiple Hollywood actors present.
Right? This is the summary before the first time that Adam Sandler speaks. Oh, sometimes it's very small, so there can be like 0-minute clips as well. Those are not too important for us. Let me see here.
The value of creative freedom in comedy.
Okay, so I think this may be the first time that we actually hear in the final talk Adam Sandler speak.
Which one's easier?
Yeah, that's the time we heard him speak. So you can tell this segment is 22 seconds long, but there are other segments. Let's see, for example.
And then everyone started.
Right? Here he only said, "Oh, yeah." And for example, this is one of the things that were discarded. But to be able to stitch the whole thing, like create the final output, first the algorithm creates summaries and targets, identifies every single time Adam Sandler spoke, and creates a summary for everything that happened before and the segment that he spoke, and then it goes on like this for the whole interview. So there are lots and lots of these little clips. So there are 72 summary target pairs. So that means 36 distinct times Adam Sandler has spoken throughout this conversation. But of course, very few of them meet the minimum of 10 seconds. After the algorithm has done these, it basically, according to my criteria, stitches them together. One of the things that I've also set in the background, I didn't make this user configurable, but I've found this to be useful. So sometimes the speaker will speak for like a good chunk, like let's say maybe 8 seconds, but then somebody will interrupt them for like very briefly. For example, they will say, "This was very good," and somebody else will say, "Yeah." And then your speaker is going to continue for another 5 seconds, let's say. So if you take the 8 seconds before and the 5 seconds after, that's actually a coherent 13 seconds. It's only that they were interrupted for a very tiny amount, for like 1 or 2 seconds. So I've created a tolerance for up to 2 seconds so that I could actually stitch together the 8 and the 5 before the tiny interruption, but only if the interruption is very, very small. And of course, only if the segments before and after together add up to more than 10 seconds. It's only then that it's stitched in. So after all of this, we see, by the way, how long each of these steps take in the final tally. Let me just expand and let's take a look. So the downloading the YouTube video audio took 43 seconds, converting to WAV 8 seconds. Speaker diarization and transcription are the most sort of heavy parts. Speaker diarization took 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Identifying the target speaker was almost instantaneous. And then the creating transcription with Whisper. This is all happening offline, by the way. So I'm not specifically, for the diarization, I am using Python libraries that are going online because I'm using this HF, what was that? Let me just remember. Yes, Hugging Face, sorry. This is the library that I'm using. And to use that library, now I'm obviously going to delete this token right after or right before I publish this video, but I just want to show you. You need to create a local env file in which you will put a HF token and you'll go to Hugging Face and you'll get a token. It's free. It's all free, but you'll have to click a few boxes and stuff. And when you do this, you'll get a token, and that token will be used for step number 3, the diarization process. So I think the speaker diarization part is going online, but the rest of the stuff is happening offline. Transcribe with Whisper. So this involves downloading some open source models to your computer, to your Mac. The whole scripts for me are working on my machine. I'm gonna give you the stuff where the specific libraries that I'm using and the scripts that I'm using are going to be all available, but you may need to adapt depending on your program or your computer kind of settings. But I'm thinking not too much. Like Python should be running everywhere with virtual environments, but there might be some tweaks you need to do on your machine. I'm also thinking of making, maybe if there's interest, to make this like a standalone application, but I just didn't. I actually have like a list of things that I may want to potentially improve, but right now it's just meeting my needs, so I didn't want to spend too much time on that. But if there's more interest, I might think about that in the future. So anyway, this is it's running a transcription with Whisper, and then it's doing the speaker isolation with also another local text-to-speech thing, an AI summary thing. So yeah, this is the app. Like I said, the final results is, this was the previous one. The final result is taking 58 minutes of general interview published on YouTube and condensing it down to 7 minutes of only the one speaker that you're most interested in. And hopefully this is of use to someone else too. If it is, let me know. I'd be curious. Anyway, thank you for listening, and looking forward to maybe seeing you in other videos. Bye.